Reese Witherspoon, the producers, and the writers from the original Legally Blonde movie, which came out 17 years ago, are currently in negotiations with MGM for a Legally Blonde 3. Legally Blonde 2 came out back in 2003, and to be honest, I never really thought we'd see a part 3. However, as Deadline puts it, the film has been a staple for young female audiences who've rediscovered it on DVD or through the hit stage musical that continues to tour to this day. The original grossed $141 million worldwide on an $18 million budget, and the sequel brought in $124 million on a $45 million budget. The report says that Legally Blonde 3 will be much in the spirit of the first film, in which Woods' character's idealism and pink-dominant wardrobe prevailed over the cynicism and snootiness all around her after the freshly dumped former sorority sister heads to law school. The intention is to make this more about female empowerment, a message that hits a fortuitous time in the culture. The feeling is to draw back in the audience that grew up with the original film while also appealing to a brand new global audience. Look, I gotta tell you, when I heard that they were doing this, I was surprised, but the more you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. Look, that first Legally Blonde film, I know a lot of women in my life who love that movie. I mean, not quite on the same scale as some other big ones at the time, like Mean Girls, not quite as quoted as much as Mean Girls or other films like that. But there's a lot of people I know, a lot of women particularly, that love this film and has a really strong following. Now, the second film, I think I only saw it once, and I don't think I liked it very much. I'll be honest with you, I can't even remember a thing about it, but the first one was pretty damn good. But what was in those reports talking about this being a fortuitous time to jump on these themes of women empowerment and things like that, and with the stage play going on, going back to Legally Blonde actually is a pretty good idea. Now look, if you can make this thing for a reasonable budget, I think that's what MGM is trying to feel out right now. Can we get Reese Witherspoon back on board? Can we get the original behind the scenes people back on board and make this thing for a reasonable budget? Because if you can do this thing for a reasonable budget, I think you've got all the pieces in place for a real modest little hit, if they can hit the right notes. Now, of course, it'll all come down to, can they make a good movie or not? That's always the big question. But you put that aside for a second, this actually seems like a pretty good idea. It'll be interesting to see what direction they go.